Hey, Willem Dafoe is sitting in our green room, so we should take a break and get this big star on the Opie and Anthony show. Stay there. You're checking out the Opie and Anthony show in studio. Wow, Willem Dafoe. Very, very excited to have Willem on the radio program. I don't know if he's excited, but we are. At least he's being honest. Like, I've done a million of these. Let's just get this over with so I can go to the next one.
No, it's not quite like that.
Promotional things. Ugh.
I once saw Willem Dafoe downtown, just walking around Mercer Kitchen, to be exact. And I actually crossed the street because you're a scary, scary man. In your movies, I don't know you personally, but you have that type of an aura about you that I'm like, I don't want contact with this guy. I will look at him from the other side of the street.
I suppose it depends on what movie you see.
True. Well, when you did the turn and started being like the innocent nice guy in movies, that was awesome because everyone expected you to be the scary guy.
Right. I suppose when I start out, that's what I was mostly doing.
Yeah.
You play a great nice guy and also a great creep. You play really well, both like a great psychopath and also like a great hero, like in Platoon.
Okay. Cool.
Or in the film we starred in together, Spiderman.
Yeah, you guys.
Oh yes, well Jimmy was in.
You guys
Spider-Man.
got a film. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, it was a lot of people credited me with basically it was the turning point in the film. For those that didn't see it, it was
Jimmy was billed as surly truck driver.
Yeah,
and he delivered a line. And we actually have it because we're very proud to have him in a blockbuster movie like that. So this is his line actually from Spider-Man.
He stinks and I don't like him.
See?
He's the guy that said he stinks and I don't like it when they did the montage of people commenting on
That was a cool part of the movie.
Yeah,
thank you. It's very polite of him too. I love this guy. He's actually a great actor. He's like, yes, I remember that well.
You have something
now. Seriously,
you have something in common. You both didn't like Spider-Man, which is very good.
That's true. Yeah, but he had I think a few more scenes with him.
Just a couple more. Just a couple more scenes.
Obviously you're in some of my favorite movies. It's like I don't realize how many good movies you're in until I look at the bio. I'm like, oh yeah.
Okay.
And I just saw Born on the 4th of July again the other night. You've done so many great things. Mississippi Burning, another one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, great. What do you want from me?
There really was no question there. I was basically just telling a man I liked that you did that.
And I said
kissing his ass.
I say thank you.
Why don't you add Platoon to that list?
Because I didn't want to do them all at once. I'm going to run out of great movies.
You're a New York guy? Live around here?
Yeah, I've lived here pretty much my adult life.
Because I think everybody has their Willem Dafoe sightings.
No, I had.
Do people come up to you? Or are they intimidated? Because I know when I saw you, you were walking by. I just left a restaurant, and I just go, you go, the holy crap, that's Willem Dafoe, and you want to do something. You want to kind of step up and say hi, or can I get a picture? But you never know what your vibe's going to be.
People in New York are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're sweet, and they're basically encouraging. They basically say, say I like what you do or whatever. They don't ask for much.
And leave you alone, though, for the most part, too?
Yeah, say hello, act like, it's a normal thing, and we're good friends.
Yeah, because you're pretty recognizable.
I'm around.
Yeah, you're around.
You lashed out in an article, it says here, and you were saying that people are too obsessed with the kind of puritanical thing in our society. What were you
yeah, exactly. These things always need a little context. No, not misquoted at all. I was on this talk show, and they were talking about a movie, a smaller movie, and the guy was obsessing on, he made the assumption that it wasn't a successful movie because it didn't make a lot of money. And I just said, hey, be careful. Don't just look at the grosses and judge the movie on that. Some movies aren't meant to make $200 million. Sure. It would be nice if they did, but they're not made for a big
mass
audience.
Appeal or whatever.
Yeah,
right.
And I think those movies are worth making. That was my point. So I just said, like ever since grosses started to get printed on movies and all these magazines kind of sprang up around the business, everybody thinks they know the movie business and they follow it like they follow the stock market, and they kind of forget what it's all about.
Right.
That's movies, not just about making money.
Are the scripts bad? I mean, it seems like there's
That's a leading question.
But I mean, like, it seems like we were talking about Pacino yesterday. I don't know, Coppola kind of lashed out at Pacino, Nicholson, and De Niro.
Yeah, but I think he took that back.
Oh, did he take it back?
Yeah, because it was out of context. In fact, I had the occasion to speak to him about that.
Yeah, because that was a kind of a weird group of threes to attack. But I was looking at some of the movies Pacino and De Niro, and of course you can't criticize them as actors, but it just seems like it's the same script getting turned over and over, which probably means they get to choose what they want to do. So it's probably just not as many great scripts out there.
Well, for me, you always lament this. There's not, you're always saying, "Oh, the material ain't great," But no, I don't think that's particularly true. The thing that is true is I think there's really big movies and there's really small movies, and the middle has dropped out. And it's like anything. It's like even like a society that doesn't have a big middle class, it gets a little shaky.
Yeah.
I think that's true. But then. You try to, I try to do some small ones. I try to do some big ones, but the tendency is on the big ones because they got to cover their nuts, so to speak.
Yep.
They got to know what they're selling. There's less risk taking, so they're generally tend to want to repeat themselves, repeat their successes, and use you the same way that you've been used before. So it's not always. Sometimes it's great making a big movie. But I tend to live in the independent world more where just generally more personal and more risky films can be made.
It does make sense what you're saying, though. Like, why do they all have to be judged on box office receipts when, you're looking at something that's art?
Well, we get sucked into it. It can be entertainment, it can be junky, it can be art, it can be all kinds of things. But I guess my point is there's a fundamental philosophical thing about if something doesn't make money, we think that if something is in the marketplace, the cream will rise to the top.
Right.
It's not. It's like, you look at a specialty food store. It's not a big chain supermarket. It has different intentions.
I'm amazed that some of these movies come out and the reviews are horrendous, and then it's number one at the box office. I'm like, doesn't the public pay attention and like do a little work on their own?
I think they don't. And
I'm not like saying that the reviews should be, because some of these reviewers are way off too. But when you get a general review and it's very obvious that this is one of these comedies that's been done a million times and it's awful and it's getting a half a star, and then you look Monday morning, it's the number one movie at the box office.
Those are usually movies where people have a relationship to it, and it's got a big first weekend, and then after that, it takes a nosedive. I mean, you create a relationship with people.
But is marketing that powerful, you think?
Yes, marketing's huge. It gets huger and huger.
Because then all the lemmings just go to the movie theater and see this piece of crap. And how many times have you been in a movie theater and you hear people yelling and screaming as the credits roll, like, "Oh, that was a bunch of crap"?
Yeah, some people, sometimes event movies, people their expectation is very low, but they'll go anyway because they got to check it out.
Right.
Because
wait for it.
It's in the air.
Wait for it to go on DVD or something.
But the other thing is when people decide what to do, like for a weekend or they got some free time, sometimes there's a tendency to, you want to go, you want to know what you're getting. If you go with a friend or you go with a girlfriend, you don't want to fight with them about the meaning of the movie or be traumatized, So some people kind of like to kick back and kind of do something reassuring and familiar.
What was your favorite movie that no one saw?
Oh, God, that's a tough one. There's a lot of them.
That was a really good movie, and a lot of people should have seen. I'm not talking about a real obscure artsy piece, but something that really was a solid movie, but because it didn't have the marketing or the mass appeal, no one went and saw.
Damn, you're setting me up, and I can't think of one off the bat.
Okay.
Yeah, there's plenty, though. Just because, it's all about timing and awareness, and sometimes great movies slip through the cracks, and sometimes really mediocre movies you get, elevated and called great. It's normal.
What's the most intense scene? I mean, we were talking about a scene the other day. What's the most intense scene that you've done since you've been doing films?
Oh, God, what comes to mind is always really extreme physical stuff, I suppose, being crucified was pretty
That's pretty intense.
not just because physically it was difficult, but also no matter how you're brought up, you have such associations to that.
Right.
That, assume the pose, and a lot of emotions come with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Were you on the set now when you on the Last Temptation? Were you a little bit pompous to the rest of the people just because
pompous?
Just because you were
no, the story was about this guy being a regular Joe. So pompous, hell no. I was too busy. That was a movie. One of the pleasures of that movie is you went out every day and you worked, and then you worked till you dropped, and then you went back to the little modest hotel in Morocco, in the place in Morocco, and then woke up and did the same thing.
Were you surprised at all the flack it caught?
Yeah, I was.
Really?
Yeah, because the heart of the movie is very sincere and deals with spiritual stuff, and on some level, it was a very thoughtful movie. I mean, in this, in an age where, there's slasher movies and stuff like that, they're objecting to this movie because you got a different take on a familiar story.
Right.
It was Christ's, what was it? There was a sexual fantasy about Mary Magdalene or something like that. That was what said everybody.
That was part of it. It was more about just a reinterpretation, trying to check into the more less the divine side and more the human side of the Jesus Christ character. Hey guys, you got to plug this movie.
We're going.
Yes,
we're heading that way.
You have so much history, though.
It's really hard to just talk about
talk to you, but I'm thinking
it's got to be awful though when you come in and you've got so many great films. It's like everybody wants to talk about the work.
No, that's
the new movie's Anamorph, and
I'm sorry,
it's all good.
That way we're going.
No, it's fine. I do gigs on the road, and there's nothing worse than when you're like 15 minutes into an interview, you're like, plugging.
I'm not here to just hang out with you guys.
I know we're acting like it's our living room.
Right. Anamorph. It's going to be in theaters Friday, and we got copies of this yesterday.
Yes.
I checked it out last night.
What'd you think?
A nice serial killer movie there.
Very
dark.
It's very dark. I like, for me, from an actor's perspective, it's very much a character piece. It's character driven, and there's some very interesting ideas in there, and a lot of good visual ideas as well.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll say one thing for it. There's what you think is going to wind up happening. Like they're setting something up. I felt like they were setting something up through the part of the movie, and it's not what happened, which I kind of liked because I think, oh, okay, I know where this is going, and I didn't know where it was going. And it really was. I said you play a great creep because you came off, even though you were not supposed to be a creep, you came off really just dark and uncomfortable. It was really.
He's a pretty alienated cat.
Yeah.
You want to explain your character in Anamorph?
Well, he's a
older detective.
He's a
at the
police detective. Yeah, and he's really comes. Well, he's called in to investigate a series of murders that are eerily similar to a series of murders that he solved 5 years earlier. So, of course, that begs the question whether A, did he get the right guy, and B, or whether it's a copycat.
Sure.
So he's got to do some soul searching, and somewhere in his past, he's got some unresolved things, and it really sends him, as he goes deeper and deeper into the investigation, he goes deeper and deeper into his past, and some stuff that he's never quite fessed up to.
It was really interesting film work. It just had a really weird, dark, creepy feel to it. I know it's not a great descriation, but it really
but if you're going to film a serial killer type of movie, that's the way to go, right?
I don't think of it as a series. I really think it's hung on this guy's, descent into a dark past, and that's what I like about it. And I also like it's very, it's got a great New York feel. It's no accident that we shot it here. It feels like a New York movie. We shot in places that are very specifically New York.
Except for the fact, like, you're driving home and you just have a parking space right in front of your building. I mean, come on.
that was a little hard to swallow for me, too. But
what world do you live in? He just pulls up to his apartment building. Oh, parking space in front of the building once again.
We live in a lucky world when the crew controls the traffic, hopefully.
Besides that, yes, very New York.
And there was some great, really great dissembled torsos in this. There was some really fantastic.
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
some good visual effects.
Yeah, man, there was some really great like pieces of bodies hanging all over. It was just like, really revolting. Some of the
is this what we call a spoiler?
No, not at all.
Well, not really. I mean, you got to think that the guy's killing somebody, right?
The serial killer wasn't. You're smothering them.
I thought of Jimmy when I was watching this movie because he's a huge fan of serial killers in general. This guy knows more about serial killers than anyone I've ever met in my life.
I wouldn't say
he could rattle off names and facts and what his specialty was.
I was just
and not the basic ones. He goes deep.
Yeah, you really know that stuff.
Yeah, Bundy was a hack. You know how it is.
I was thinking the other day, doing some press stuff for this. I've got a connection to serial killers because my father knew Ed Gein.
Really?
Ed Gein, I guess.
Yeah, he
was a biggie.
He's a biggie.
He grew up in the same town as Ed Gein.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have this guy Andrew made me a coffee mug. 2 Ed Gein coffee mugs. One had like the top half of the victim on it, and it was actually like a really nice piece of art. And the bottom, it was a painting that he did, and it had the bottom half of the victim. Is he the one that said? I don't know if this is an accurate quote. When I see a girl who's pretty, I think 2 things: what it would be like to date her, and then the second thing is what her head would look like on a stick. It might have been him that said that. Was that him or no?
That was you.
Doesn't sound right.
Okay, no.
That sounds like
great bumper sticker.
We can thank Hollywood for that one, right. But I don't know.
No, that was actually in a serial killer book. One of the guys actually said,
"Hey, baby, you're the expert."
No, I don't even know who it was.
It was Ted.
How did your father know him? Were they on the same baseball team or anything like that?
He lived in the same town. He was like a handyman in the town.
Oh, that is.
It was handy, all right.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And babysitter, that kind of thing.
A lot of people obsessed with serial killers. I don't know why. I don't know what that taps into, but...
Well, I don't know, but we sure have our share of them in this country, don't we?
Absolutely.
Well, it shows you how far people can go, I think. It shows you, like, it's like they're never running around with a big funny hat and an axe. I mean, it's always like people that live next door to you, and I think that's the interesting part, is you see how far your fellow citizens can go and how dark and awful it can... That's what's interesting. I mean, that's why a movie about them is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's just... I don't know.
And I got to bring up something, To Live and Die in L.A., which I thought was a cool movie.
No, very cool.
Yeah. That scene, you got to kiss a guy in that scene.
Yeah.
At the beginning. What is that like for an actor when they say, look, you got to kiss this guy? And it's a pretty passionate kiss.
Yeah, it's... you're playing a scene. What can I say?
Is that it?
All a day's work.
Close your eyes and enjoy it.
It just seems like one of those things where you're like, God, it's in the script. The script looks good, but...
No, the cool thing about that was Billy Friedkin, who's really a great director, and really I loved working with on that. He, maybe I shouldn't tell you this. No, I can tell you this. What the hell?
Yeah, well, promote Anamorph. Come on, let's go.
It's 2 shots.
Yeah.
It's 2 shots, and you're tracked behind a guy's back, So it looks like a man,
right?
Walks like a man, everything like a man, and then you see me go up and greet him with a smile and give him this deep kiss, and then the camera turns around and it's revealed as a woman.
Of course,
right? It's 2 shots, but we have to start the kiss in the 1 shot.
Yeah.
And this poor guy that was the guy that I kissed was a dancer, a straight guy, very, very, probably all his life, having to assert that he's straight because he comes from a world where a lot of people are gay, know? So the guy was unusually uptight about this. And the director says, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. He'll just come up to your face and then we'll cut." And then Billy goes over to me and says, "Kiss the shit out of him."
It does look extremely uncomfortable and unnatural, the way like the hand goes to the back of the head. It looks like they're not really into this until you see that scene cut and you notice that it's a woman.
Yeah.
And then it looks a little more natural and like people are enjoying themselves a little more. But
okay,
and you do play quite the bastard in that movie.
To Live and Die in L.A. is a great flick.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it,
that's
a really good one.
You were talking about movies. I mean, how weird success or not success is. When that movie opened, it was a big flop.
Really.
and it really survived only later,
videos and
afterlife, and also became, at least in my experience, popular among film people and film directors. It was an important movie early in my career, but it was a real flop. And I remember what the reviews said, and it was interesting.
Jesus.
They say, there are no people to root for. There are no people to identify with. This is a world full of scum. And I thought, wow, that prefigured, a Quentin Tarantino world by like 10 years.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, that's there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I mean, what the hell?
We watch movies like that all the time.
You get bothered by bad reviews? Do you read them at this point?
I do. I try not to read them. I really don't, because a lot of times, because of the short form and because the level is very low, the critical writing on film is quite low usually. But sometimes I read them because if it's very good, people are telling you about it, you want to check it out. If it's very bad, people are telling you about it, and you want to check it out, because usually, and then you can decide for yourself. So it's like the not knowing is worse. But generally speaking, I like to know how it's going, what the response was, but I don't read them. It's too depressing. It can stick in your head.
That's interesting, because you have nothing to prove as far as your film career goes. But it's not. It's nice to know
your last 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, it's nice to know you're human. Because we're affected by message board postings and what some idiot says about us in a dumb local paper.
Don't go there. I mean, you could drive yourself nuts.
Yeah.
Because also, particularly with the internet, the internet is mostly run by 12-year-old kids,
Everyone's an expert.
Everyone's an expert.
Or at least cops pretending to be.
And, you can tell by the spelling and the syntax and all that, that these are kids, know. And stuff gets in the internet and just sticks there and kind of festers. So,
go ahead, Jimmy.
I'll say, what's one that got to you? There had to be one that was written by a critic who you legitimately wanted to strangle. Because
there's lots of them, but one I can think of particularly was I made a small personal film, another one of these movies that I was not going to reach a huge audience, and a critic. For Variety reviewed it at the Venice Film Festival, and it was a movie, a small movie, an art movie, and it was like it got under her skin, and she just did everything to kill it. And early in the life of a movie, sometimes a prominent review can really hurt it, and she sort of willfully knew that, and she killed the distribution basically on the movie because of a very, very negative,
one person
unnecessarily negative review.
Wow.
Yeah. But
what movie was
that? You can cry about this stuff. It's called Before It Had a Name, and you can get it on video, but it didn't really get much of a release here. But you got to be careful because they recut it in most of the videos here, but outside of this country, it's our cut.
Right. Gotcha.
So you must hate her guts. I mean, I
hate whose guts?
Exactly, that awful woman. Variety.
Yeah, to set it up, I should have told you more, but then let's forget this. I should have gone there, but she stays with me, huh?
Yeah, she should. She stinks. I hate critics. Hate them.
Willem, obviously you did a lot
She's a would-be filmmaker, too.
Of course she is.
You obviously did a lot of huge films. What's your favorite film that you did?
Oh, God, people ask me, and I can't. I don't know.
You can't even choose one?
No, I really can't.
One that's up there?
No, you name some.
They're all your babies?
I'm afraid.
You like them all?
It's true. And the other thing I remember is once I heard a guy who I wasn't crazy about. He had a movie that I thought this time, wow, he really did something beautiful. And I heard him on some talk show or something trashing that movie. And I thought, baby, you ruined it for me. I was fine with that. It's the other stuff that I can't bear. So it's like what I think isn't important. What I think you put into the work, and then one man's meat is another man's poison, so I don't want to guide anybody by telling them what I like.
Right.
Yeah, I liked American Psycho.
Yeah.
I thought was a hysterical movie. Hysterically funny movie.
Beautifully made movie.
Yeah,
but when you say something like that, that's something that I think it's a great movie, but I didn't feel, as central to it. It's not hung on me. I guess I tend to be proudest of the ones that are turn out well, where I'm a central figure.
Yeah, well, Platoon was very important. Or I have
a strong part,
Platoon was an important movie for its time, especially. It was kind of one of the first in the Vietnam genre that kind of showed it a little more realistically.
It's true. And it was a personal movie, and it was real fresh, because, this movie... Man, when we were out there, you looked around, and I had only made a couple of movies, and most of the people around had made no movies. So it had a real freshness to it, and passion from Oliver, because that was a very personal story.
Yeah.
Have you ever been embarrassed in because I've been in very few small, awful films. Literally, I've probably been in 3 of the 4 worst films ever done.
Me.
One was called White Chicks Incorporated. It's so bad.
Sounds good.
I can't even watch it, ironically.
Okay.
And we were in the...
what did you do in that?
I played such an ass.
A boss or something?
What's that?
A boss?
No. I played famous comedian Jim Norton, where I had to act like I was just a big comedian. I was really humiliating.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I'd rather describe a pedophilia testimony than what I'm telling you. And I was in this little theater watching this premiere, and I wanted to commit suicide. It was so embarrassing to watch myself. Have you ever been watching it or watching the work they did with the film and just wanted to just get out?
No, sometimes you get disappointed on
how it came out.
Yeah, sure you do. And it's always a game. You got people, and they fail you and they surprise you. It's fun because you make this little family around this thing for a while, and some people step up to the plate and other people kind of fall on their face. And so you're proud when they do, and when they don't, you say, that's too bad.
See, he's got a couple of huge movies there, Jimmy, to look back on when he's looking at one that maybe isn't one that he's most proud of. You have Side Splitters,
right?
If you want to,
which is a 20-minute just work of art. It's kind of like Platoon, but 20 minutes with me and stupid Lewis Black. But no, it's interesting to ask somebody who's got such a body of work. Is there times where, because I don't have a body of film work. I have a couple of small, awful ones, and it's I'm not really an actor. But it's got it. You have to know, like you said, you have to know when you're watching. You're like, oh, this is just not what I wanted.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. And it's rough because you make something and then someone else orders it and turns it into something else.
Yeah.
So sometimes they can help you out and make you look good. Other times they can sink something beautiful that was there. So, it's a trust game and a risk game.
Hey, did you get to see Madonna's, private when you filmed that scene?
Whoa!
The hell?
Did you get a little peek?
Did you get a little peek? Give us a little something here, because she seems to be a little bit on the let's really do this.
She's cool.
That means she's method.
No, it wasn't like that, but it was. Yeah.
Well, you got a big smile on your face, so there's something there. Hey, the new movie's Anamorph. It starts tomorrow, I believe, right?
It's in theaters.
IFC.
It's going to be in New York, obviously. Where else is it going to be? It says limited release.
Very limited at this point. It's at IFC, on 6th Avenue in New York, and then it opens in LA in a couple of weeks. And I'm sure if it does well, it'll go wider because they have other theaters. But also, they're doing an interesting thing. They've got this on-demand thing, through cable, which is a big deal because it allows independent film to go places that it normally wouldn't get shown.
So this is one of those movies? Because on my Movies on Demand, you can watch some of these films that are in theaters.
Yeah. That's what they're doing.
At the same time. That's
exactly.
Pretty cool.
It's very cool because then you don't have to wait for the DVD. So if you're hot to see something, you can see it now. And also, for these movies that don't get a huge release, it lets people see it. Although, it's obviously always a better experience in the theater from my...
Although the technology's starting to look a little old in movie theaters. We all have our flat screens and a little system, and
okay.
They really got to update the theaters. It's so frustrating.
Well, they're working on it.
I know.
But I saw a screening last night, and I thought, wow, could
pretty
you
cool
see?
On the big screen.
Well, yeah, very good on this movie's very good visually, and it's a very laid back, very tapped down performance. And I thought, gee, on a little screen, would you see the performance because it's all in the eyes.
Right on. Anamorph. Well, once again, the movie, what is it about for the people that are just tuning into the Willem Dafoe interview?
Okay, it's about a detective that's investigating a series of murders that are very much like a series of murders that he solved years ago, and it puts some doubts in his mind and kind of forces him to go back into some questions he had about some things that he did in the past. So it's something of a ghost story. I mean, in the respect that he confronts himself.
Right.
It's really dark, and there are some really weird, creepy scenes in it. I'm saying that in a very good way. I'm not saying that bad. It's a serial killer movie. It shouldn't be like yellow balloons in the corner. It was a very dark, interesting movie.
Even the corner is a creep.
Yeah, it was just. Oh yeah.
He was just a creepy guy.
I love him.
Yeah.
Paul Lazar.
And you walk right in without putting the stuff under your nose. You just don't care. I love that.
Yeah, you're just right in there with the corner, checking things out. She's got her coat on. That means you got to get to another interview. It's
all right.
It's the great Willem Dafoe. We're all huge fans, obviously, and thanks for stopping by.
Okay, enjoyed talking to you.
The movie's Anamorph starting tomorrow. Opie and Anthony.